All right, guys, welcome to the Onelife Podcast. Here with Kimberly, who is a Las Vegas personal trainer. She's into MMA now, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I'm excited to talk to you. You look a little nervous.
Like
Relax a little bit.
I feel like you look more nervous
Really?
than me. Yeah.
No, I've done this plenty of times. I want to start with, I know you're a personal trainer. I know you're passionate about fitness, but I love the fact you're into jiu-jitsu. You're a female. You're doing martial arts. What got you into that? And like, how's that been for you so far?
So I've been pretty athletic my whole life. I've always done sports. Then eventually I got into working out. And after a while of working out for a long time.
Like gym working out?
Yeah. So like this fall is 7 years of me just like bodybuilding training, things like that. Because I've done a bodybuilding show too before,
Oh, really? Okay.
3 years ago. And then after a while, it was just boring. It's like you could only lift weights so much. And then on top of that, I've always been interested in doing some kind of martial arts, but it's scary. Like it's so intimidating trying to go into a gym and then you don't know where to start. You don't know what gyms are good, things like that.
And most people are feeling like that walking into a regular gym.
I know.
Never mind a female walking into like a martial art tough guy type gym, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
even scarier because it's like these people can beat you up.
And you're in shape, you're a confident girl, but you're still found it intimidating, right?
Oh yeah.
So imagine like what just a regular person who hasn't exercised for 10, 20 years is feeling.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's humbling to hear you say that. So how's the swap and training been? How's that been for you? Like confident wise, having your butt kicked? It's very humbling.
It's humbling. It's really fun, and I like the challenges it has on your brain because like fighting is a lot more technical.
It's
so
like
you have to
chess,
think about
right?
it. Yeah, and so it's super fun and like getting to learn it and like seeing your progress where you are now too. Because I remember when I first started, how I was. And like I didn't know what I was doing. You're really just trying to defend. And like,
yeah, it's kind of like force on force, right? There's no give and take. There's no pull. There's no leverage. You're like, hey, I'm stronger. I'm gonna try to pin this person.
Yeah.
And then you realize that doesn't work for very long.
Yeah, and then like now it's rolling with somebody who like just started or like they're not as good as you. That's like what makes me realize like, oh shit, like
I got this.
I'm actually pretty good at this now. And I've actually learned some stuff. Because before you're like, you think you're doing things, but then rolling with somebody new, they're going at a super fast pace, trying to go really hard, and you don't even have to go at their level or their speed anymore because you're just like,
relax.
you know, you're like, okay, I'm going to be technical.
So you've done jiu-jitsu for a year. Are you rolling gis too? Are you rolling gis as well?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you just do
I
strictly.
haven't done gi yet.
You haven't done any gi. That's a whole different animal.
Well, because I eventually wanted to do an MMA fight within a year. That's my goal.
Gotcha.
Take on an MMA fight in less than a year now.
Gotcha. And I felt they say using gi is super beneficial, but also I believe in like street fighting practicality where you don't have the gi, you don't have the hooks, you don't have the ability to hold or do like collar chokes.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. How is it on your confidence as a female? Do you feel more confident, like you can look after yourself at this point, or you still feel like you're just on your way there? I mean, the reason I ask, I have an 8-year-old daughter and I teach her Muay Thai and I would really like to see her in jiu-jitsu. So I'm very interested from your point of view.
I mean, it's good for self-defense if you like get into that situation where you need to do self-defense, maybe like have to choke a guy or like knee bar him or whatever, ankle locks, things like that, what you actually can do. Yeah, it makes you feel confident and it's good. But at the end of the day, if I have the chance, I'm running.
Yeah, and it
takes a guy one strike and you're knocked out.
and it could be anybody, right? Like
yeah, like I'm like, I don't care if you're a girl and you're like a 5th degree black belt. If a guy just like bah. You know?
I had Donovan, friend of mine, he's a Krav Maga instructor in town. And he's big on just get the hell out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, you're talking about a 4th degree Krav Maga instructor, and he's like, don't mess around.
Yeah, that's
you fight if you have to fight. If you do have to fight, it's 110% in. But if you don't, get the hell out of it. It's not worth
exactly.
It. So that's interesting. When you first started getting into training, was it weight training?
So I was always into like sports, and then when I went to college,
what type of sports were you doing?
I did basketball a little bit for like 1 year, and then we had flag football too in our high school. And so I ended switching to flag football, and I really loved it. And then I went to college, and I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything with my body, and like it was bothering me. And I'm like, oh, we have a free gym membership with our tuition and stuff, so I'll check it out. Started going to the gym. I loved it. Met another girl who was working pretty hard, and then she introduced me to pre-workout. As soon as she introduced me to pre-workout, that changed the game for me.
What was the first pre-workout?
C4 Extreme.
Yeah. Okay.
And not even just the regular one. It was the Extreme. Yeah. So I was like,
the I think it's 1,3-dimethylene, or however you pronounce it. It's banned in Australia.
What's it called?
It's like 1/3-DM something.
I've never
but most pre-workouts you can get in the States are illegal in Australia now.
Wow.
So they're pretty legit, the pre-workouts here.
Wow.
I don't even use pre-workout anymore. But
I don't anymore.
You don't.
But it's just what got me like really hooked.
It's hard not to be very motivated, right?
Yeah.
But you can also get wigged out too. Like where you have too much, where you're like, oh, I can't even train.
That never happened.
Oh, really?
I literally was like, it was freshman year, and I barely worked. I only worked like a couple nights a week. So I was like free. I'd be working out in the gym like 3 hours a day almost.
Really?
Yeah, it was like really crazy intense at first.
I was the same. Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually I was like, okay, this is like really hard work, and I'm not seeing too much progress because I was eating bad. So I went pescatarian for a little bit.
Gotcha.
And I saw that. And then eventually I was like, okay, I want to do a show. That took a few years.
That's the thing, right? I find most people training, it's not till you really want to be in front of a camera or do a show or have a reason to be lean that you're like, hey, I now need to figure out the diet. Or if you actually want to put on some serious size, you're like, hey, now I need to figure out the diet. You know what I mean? Because I was a very fussy eater. I wouldn't eat most foods. And then I remember that when I was about your age, when I first wanted to lean up, get abs out, I'm like, oh crap, now I'm going to have to actually watch what I eat, not rely on metabolism. And that's what works, right?
Yeah, a good amount. I'm lucky I do have good genetics, and I have like a pretty fast metabolism.
At the moment. It'll catch up on you.
We'll see. But I also I do eat a lot of bad food, but I also balance it out. Like for the majority, I make sure I eat like everything I need to, so that when I do eat bad food, it's kind of like balances it out. And I just work out super hard.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing too. Just like 85% of the time it's good. And then when it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah,
but I'm having fun.
Exactly.
But then do you find yourself, you burn out by having too much bad food? You're like, oh, I don't want any more pizza. Or I don't want any more candy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then you're good for another week or two.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I'm a big fan. Like, you can't just restrict and expect to maintain that. Like, I'm 43 now. So, I mean, at your age, I was in great shape. And 20 years later, I'm still in good shape. And it's being able to set those disciplines and balance, like you said. That's the tricky bit. So how's the weight training for you? You enjoy it? You like being stronger? You like being buff? I noticed you're pretty lean, like your photos. You like getting the extra attention? You like being fit?
I like how it makes me feel. It was always that way. Like when I first started lifting, I never really cared too much for how I looked. And if anything, if I did, I probably wouldn't be as strong. Because like I'm Filipino. And so growing up, we're very like, the women in our family is very into like women need to be more feminine and like they shouldn't have
the
muscles
Filipino
and
mom,
stuff.
right?
Yeah. My mom didn't really care too much. She's very supportive, but my sisters and my grandma would be like, oh my God, your arms are starting to look like a man. Like, stop, blah, 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 all this stuff. And like, if I listened to them, I wouldn't work as hard anymore. So it's like a good thing I didn't listen to them. And I really would just work out my feelings, literally. So like for me, the way that I work out is like for my feelings, because I've got hurt a lot and stuff in the past. And then I used fitness as an outlet.
Okay. Instead of going like emotional eating and things like that.
Yeah. No.
I'm the same as you.
Yeah.
If I'm stressed with business, relationship issue, it's gym time, it's exercise time.
It's exercise time. Yeah.
If anything, I get more disciplined and more on track than I was beforehand. And you're probably just lucky to be like that, would you say?
Yeah.
I don't think you and I've done anything special to be like that. It's kind of just, I was lucky. I started to go to the gym when I was 17 and I enjoy it. And 25 years later, I still go to the gym.
Yeah, same. I think that's when I started, 17.
Yeah. Whereas other people like eating candy and sugar and watching TV. So I think sometimes it's self-awareness and being appreciative of having those good habits, but not necessarily working for them so much. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Sometimes some people just resonate with certain things more than others.
Yeah.
So with you, how do you break away from like, I don't like to say naysayers about your family, but people who kind of like, oh, don't go to the gym, don't get any bigger. Why would you want to do martial arts? You might get punched in the face.
Oh, I get that for sure. A lot. Like,
especially
why do you want to fight? You're gonna ruin your face. Blah,
how do you
blah.
keep the blinders up and leave all that like out of the side?
I just don't care.
But how do you get to that point? Have you always been like that? Because I mean, that's pretty. Even me personally, you're too big, you're too skinny, you're too lean, you're too this. Someone always wants to contribute what you should or shouldn't do.
I mean, like it does affect you a little, but at the end of the day, it's your life, and you got to do what makes you happy.
Amen.
Because
I love
even
that.
since my family, where like I don't get a lot of negative comments and stuff from my friends or like people like that, but I get it a lot from my own family. So when I hear it from like random people or my friends or like things like that, I'm like, that doesn't hurt me. I hear this from my own blood.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
You think this is gonna hurt me? Yeah. I hear this from my sister. You know, like I've been bullied my whole life. They didn't even hurt me either.
And it also shows that you probably got the right friends and around the right environment if you got supporting people. And from fight training, they're always the most supportive people, and they're the most humble people.
They are,
because they got nothing to prove. You ever notice that someone who can fight really well will shake your hand nice and soft. They won't try to intimidate you. They'll look you dead in the eyes. They'll treat you like a human being because they got nothing to prove. It's the ones who are insecure, who are the ones that try to squeeze the shit out of your hand and roll your hand over and turn away and show the disrespect. The best fighters I've ever met have been the most nicest, humblest people. And same as bodybuilders, like the biggest guys, they're the chillest guys ever.
They're the nicest.
They just got no ego.
Yeah. Somewhat. I wouldn't say no.
I mean, you got to have an ego to a certain point, and some of them are worse than others.
Especially bodybuilding, you have to have the ego for bodybuilding.
But fighters are definitely a different breed.
Oh yeah,
in a good way.
Some of the nicest people I've met.
Absolutely,
nicest
right?
and craziest.
Yeah, and they obviously love what they do, and they're doing it for themselves. They're not doing it to show off, to prove to anybody, oh, look how well I can fight. The better I got at fighting, the less I got into trouble. That was for sure. Because what you learn is you don't need to get involved. You can walk away. You don't have to prove that to somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love the fact you're doing everything, because I've talked to Donovan about this. If you get in an altercation with somebody, you don't need to get on top of them and throw punches.
Yeah.
You just roll with them and they fell asleep. and that's what you're learning to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you're dealing with someone homeless and they're dirty and you don't want to touch their face or get bit or something, which can be very bad, is there's different ways of, like, just a teep or a front kick, or there's different ways of addressing different situations.
Yeah. And
that's what you're kind of learning.
Yeah, I'm hoping I don't have to ever deal with something like that.
But it's good. It's good to have.
Yeah.
And that's what I find as a father, having a daughter, knowing you can take care of yourself and you can take care of the ones that you love around you. It's very important.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you just never know what's coming.
Yeah. Even recently, I went on a vacation to Mexico, and there's like a huge fight or whatever, and my brother-in-law, one of them, got jumped. But the thing is, I didn't see it. So I was like really mad, because I was like, I could have done jiu-jitsu or something.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my other brother reminded me, and he's like, no, maybe it's a good thing, because there's like 4 guys on one. So imagine you're putting one guy to sleep and they turn around and they see you.
Well, that's what's going to... The only fights I've ever had...
all, you know?
Yeah, only fights I've ever been involved in have never been one-on-one. It's been 7 on me.
Wow.
Or it's been 20 on 4 of us or something.
I think that is not fair.
It's not fair, but it just shows it's the way it is.
Yeah, it's messed up.
And the 7-on-1 was a guy sucker punched me out of nowhere, and then he football tackled me. So I put him in a guillotine, and then only to find out he's got 2 friends about to punch me in the face, because my hands are tied up. So the first thing I do is let him go and realize that, it's good to know things, but you need to be able to adapt constantly to the changing the situation. For sure. So that was what I knew, what I wanted to do, but what I couldn't do.
Had to do. Yeah.
What got you into personal training? How old were you? How long had you been doing weights for?
So I've been doing weights since I was 17, after high school. And then I got into personal training because I liked working out so much. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm in the gym all the time. It's good money. Why don't I just try it? You know, I think at first I did probably go into it thinking about the money, and also just because I was in the gym the whole time. And like I originally was going, I originally was going to school for business, and then I had like a nice internship with Caesars Entertainment. So actually the corporate, I was in the office, made good money, and then that's when I realized I was like, yeah, I can't do this.
That's not what you wanted to do.
I was like, I have too much personality to sit behind a desk 9 to 5. And
you remind me of myself a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the same. You told me to sit behind a desk. Oh my God.
I was like, I can't do this. I
How did your parents think about that? Like you changing like from the career to just like, oh, you're just a trainer now?
My dad I'm like still slowly finishing school. My dad just wants me to get the degree. He doesn't really care too much, and he just wants me to have a stable job.
Okay.
And then my mom is very supportive.
Okay.
She's like,
because she sees that you're happy.
Yeah, she's like a more of like a happiness is more important. My dad's like a old fashioned. You got to go to college and get a good job. And all this stuff.
But it's the security. It's not. It's so hard. You got to remember, like they're doing it for a good reason.
No, I know.
They want you to have a good job, be secure, so you don't have to worry about things.
Yeah.
But you and I kind of chase happiness and figure it out on the way.
Well, in the way that I see life too is I'm like, I don't want to work for somebody forever. No. I don't want to get a good job and be stuck in a good job forever. I want to be the owner of the business, you know? So I'm like, I don't want to be that person, Dad.
And that's that self-awareness, right? I started personal training when I was 21. So I've never really worked for someone else. I've always kind of worked for myself, and it's been really good, but it's really bad. But it's a journey.
But it's happy, you know, and like you get to control your life because you get to control your schedule. And things like that.
Control your schedule, control how much you make, how hard you work. The harder you work, the more you get out of it. Just like the gym, just like martial arts, just like anything that you're doing in your life. Now you have that with money, which is awesome, right?
Yeah, and then when you get a taste of that, it's like, why would I want to work for somebody now?
That's the thing, right? I feel like once you get to a certain point with that, there's no going back.
Yeah,
I could
exactly.
never, ever work a regular job again.
Yeah, never. The only way I ever could, and it's because I've worked in the food industry before, is if it was food industry. But that's
you're a foodie there, right?
That's my other
we'll get
hobby.
to that.
Yeah.
I saw that. We'll touch on that. With the personal training, what age were you when you started? Like early 20s?
I think I was 20 exactly. So I've been lifting for a few years and then finally got my certification. That also helped that my ex-boyfriend at the time bought it for me because he was a trainer and he was like, oh, I got you a gift.
So you had someone to learn from and stuff. Did you guys train together?
Like actual working out?
Yeah, workout and stuff.
Yeah, so I do like that I learned a lot of like bodybuilding specific exercises from him.
Yeah.
Because he was a bodybuilder.
Okay. Yeah, you hear that a lot. What was it like running a business? Because like in my shoes, I want to be a personal trainer. And then you realize, oh my God, it's more than just training someone.
Oh yeah.
Now it's actually running a business. How was that at an early age?
It was, well, at first it's kind of hard. And then it became really fun. It became really fun once you learn it and everything. So like, I had another ex-boyfriend so I worked for 24 Hour Fitness. That was my first job. And then I had another ex-boyfriend who was also a trainer for 24 Hour Fitness, but in California.
Okay.
But he was one of the top 50 trainers in the company.
Oh, nice.
So he taught me how to like hustle and grind, how to plan my business, work it out. And then I also had I love learning. So like all the master trainers, that's what they call like trainers who've been in 24 Hour Fitness, calls trainers who've been training for a long time.
Yep.
That's what the ones who are more knowledgeable, have more degrees or certifications, things like that. I'd always pick their brain. Okay. And always try to learn what I can.
What type of stuff did you learn from them and your ex-boyfriend as far as like running a better business? Because I mean, that's huge. That's essential.
My ex-boyfriend, he taught me a lot about like prospecting. It's like one of the things he told me is like people are always watching, and then also like people are always prospects. So like I would be prospecting everywhere I go.
Just talking to everybody.
Yeah, well, like not even like talking. If people talk to me, oh, you look good, blah blah blah. That's a client. You know, like anywhere I go, especially if it's near the gym. Oh yeah, like you got a nice body, blah blah blah. Like yeah, my name is Kimberly. I'm a trainer here, blah blah blah. What's your number? exchange info, things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's huge.
Yeah, so like I was just all odds constantly trying to get prospects, things like that.
I was very lucky because I was very, very shy. Came out of school, I was so shy.
Oh yeah.
And then I started personal training, and I realized that, oh my God, if I don't talk to people, I don't get clients.
Exactly.
And now when I look back, it's the best thing I ever did as far as building my confidence.
Yeah.
It taught me to walk up to a
it.
complete stranger, whether it's been your age or a 60-year-old man, and talk to him, ask questions, build rapport, provide value, and then sell.
Yeah.
And it built my confidence. And like, obviously it's built up more and more over the years, but that was the turning point in my confidence was
training.
Just being able to walk up to a 24-year-old girl and start a conversation and then convince her to pay me money. Yeah, it was good. Like,
yeah, that does build confidence.
Yeah, because it's either sink or swim, right? Like if you don't do it,
how are you going to get clients?
Like I was paying $200 a week in rent. Like I'm not sure how much your rent is or how it works, but
this is back then though.
Yeah, it's $800 a month.
Expensive.
So $800 a month on rent. So you got to make money.
Yeah.
It adds up really quickly. As far as your training, what has been the best part of it? The most rewarding stuff you've got out
the best
with your
part
clients and
is
things?
Seeing people's results, but not just like results physically, mentally.
Bray mentioned this too.
Noticing how they feel. Well, like I got like a soft spot for like people who are disabled or things like that, and I'll train people like that. That's the one that makes me more happy, and it keeps the fire in me, because like sometimes you get tired, like I kind of get over training and things like that. But then
That's
it's
the thing,
when I
right?
see
Your first client, you give so much energy, but your 10th client, you still got to give the same amount of energy.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're talking about, isn't it?
Somewhat, but like it's like when you've been training for a good amount and like training a lot of people, sometimes you just happen to slowly start losing motivation,
Okay.
It's like it's hard to keep that fire going, especially when like your surroundings is not like that too. Like everybody's old trainers, or like everyone's not as excited.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like keep that energy. I mean, I still try to, but then there's certain people I'll see what makes me excited. Like I had a client before who actually still current, who's like, he's paralyzed in a wheelchair. Wow. And it happened like 8 years ago. So he hasn't been like normal before. And I met him through another client friend, and he told them, and they told me one time, like he messaged them like, hey, I don't know which one of you decided to get Kim, but thank you. And then her husband was even like, oh, I haven't seen him like this since before the accident.
Oh, wow.
Personality-wise, like happiness.
That's amazing.
And I was like, that's fulfilling to me.
That's like the ultimate high.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Or like, I had a client before too, an older guy who's, what's it called? Amputee.
Okay.
And stuff. And like, I was his first client within like 3 years since he even had a trainer. And so I'm like, to be the first person and you trust me with this, and then like see him 3 times a week, things like that, get some results. But most of it I know is just my company and stuff, and him working out. And like, that's rewarding to me.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you're getting such such amazing perspective and appreciation on your health and who you are, and you're giving back. And that's so cool. Like, that's the whole reason behind this podcast too, is hopefully.
Yeah, like I like helping people and making them feel happy about working out and like loving it. It's like I'll even putting people on diets. I always tell them, I'm like, I can give you workouts like a bodybuilder and diets like a bodybuilder, but are you doing a bodybuilding show? No. I'm like, then why would you want that?
Okay.
I'm like, I want you to enjoy this and love it like I do. And I was like, otherwise you're gonna hate
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't eat chicken and rice every day. I'm like, I'm going to tell you that right now. And then if you want that, I'll give it to you, but you're going to hate it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Do you feel like a lot of other people do that?
Yeah, 100%.
My way or the highway type thing. This is the way I do it. Therefore, you've got to do it the exact same way.
Well, like from my experience too, I noticed it a lot with like bodybuilding trainers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who will be bodybuilders, and then they get their certification and they think they can train all these people, but I'm like, they have to understand that not everybody is a bodybuilder.
A 30-year-old single mom, 60-year-old retired man, like everyone's lifestyle,
has different
responsibilities,
gotta,
different amount of kids.
How to connect to them and then give that to them.
So that's where you're starting with your clients. which is huge.
Yeah, I see how they are and I'm like, okay, this is what we'll have to do then instead.
Putting yourself in their shoes and then kind of figuring out what's going to work for them.
Yeah, while they still learn to love the process.
A lot of people are calling that more like lifestyle coaching because you're looking at more of a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I like. Because I love training. I wish everybody could love it the way that I do. I love how it makes me feel.
Yeah. But we're like the 1%, right? If that. Who are like live and breathe training, will do it your entire life, don't really need to ever motivate yourself. It just comes second nature. But no one else is like that. So it's like, how do you put yourself in their shoes and make it work for them and keep it maintainable on a consistent basis for the rest of their life? Because you don't just want that quick fix. Because guess what? As we know, you're just going to put that weight back on.
Yeah.
So you need to change their lifestyle, which is exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, you got to get them to fall in love with the process and everything else.
Yeah, the process.
How are you going to fall in love if you're just eating chicken and broccoli every day?
Yeah, I mean,
every day, every meal, you're going to hate it.
That's the problem where I went wrong. 6 meals a day, bodybuilding diet. And then when I wasn't dieting for something, I'd be completely off track.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't want chicken and broccoli. I don't have any more oatmeal. I've done that for the last 4 months to get to here. But now I'm here. I can't stay here because I'm not willing to do this just for the sake of it.
Yeah, you're I need something to do it for.
That's been my personal biggest problem until I started fasting, and that just changed everything for me. But I found a new way for my lifestyle and my age that works. But yeah, I love that.
So you like fasting now?
Yeah, I fast maybe 22 and a half hours a day.
Nice.
I do 1 to 2 meals. And it's easy because I've only got to get one or two meals right. Have a black coffee in the morning. I fast. I realize that it doesn't make any difference. I still weigh 225 pounds. I haven't lost any muscle. I haven't lost any energy. Everything you think it would do that you have been told it does, it doesn't. All it does is makes my life really easy. Super easy. I wake up, I leave the house, and
I don't have to worry about eating.
Yeah, my life was dictated around my next meal. For 20 years of my life.
Wow.
And now I'm free and I eat when I want to. Do I want to eat healthy? Do I want to eat not so healthy? It's up to me.
Yeah.
So
do you just eat all the amount of calories you're supposed to eat in a day in that one meal?
We could talk about this for ages. So technically 43, weigh 225 pounds. You think I'm supposed to eat maybe 2,500 calories a day. A lot of time I don't even do that.
So you don't have
a lot of time I don't even go near that. Sometimes I go over that. It's we're so caught up that you got to do this and it's got to be this way. And then what I realized is it's not true.
Yeah.
We fed and we fast for 100,000 generations. So before industrial agriculture, which has been around for 600 generations, we're feeding and fasting. And then as that came along, you got to have breakfast, lunch, dinner. Now you got to have morning tea, afternoon tea, dessert. And when you go back to the way things were, it's just not. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but there's a million different ways, you said.
All these different ways you
it doesn't have to be this way.
Exact, yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to ramble because it's more about you.
Okay.
But yeah, there is a million other ways of doing things. So as far as training people with disabilities, how did that start? And are you getting a lot more people like that now?
Yeah, I do. It's more common for me. So if somebody were to come in the gym and stuff, they automatically think of me because we can get clients from just people who walk in. That's the nice part about being a commercial gym. But how it started, it's actually pretty funny. I had no experience. I was still kind of a new trainer. And this guy just walked into the gym, needed a trainer and stuff. And I was there. And then I was like, okay, well, I can be your trainer.
Really?
And then I was like, I love learning. Like I told you, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just learn this stuff as we go.
Okay.
So before sessions, I'll start learning more.
What was his disability?
He was amputee.
Okay, just one leg?
From one leg, but above the knee.
Okay.
So I just had to think of other ways too. I think 60s, early 60s.
Okay, was it military?
Older guy. No, he just had some kind of knee problem, some knee issue. I think a blood clot.
Okay.
And they weren't able to save it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So that was your first one.
And he was he's super tall too, maybe 6'4".
Oh wow.
Or something, maybe almost even 300 pounds. So he's a pretty big, heavy guy,
gotcha.
tall, huge. So it was like fun learning what, like how
so
to
that
deal
must have
with
been
it,
exciting,
like
but also like just daunting as far as like, hey, how do I address this? And how do I how do I look professional while I figure this out?
Right.
Because there is a basic blueprint, but it's challenging. Like it's not like the easy way of doing it like everybody else.
Yeah, it took a good amount of like learning exercises and stuff with his disability. But at the end of the day, it wasn't too bad. Like it was actually pretty easy. I looked smooth doing it. Definitely looked like I knew what I was doing. Yeah.
Make it look good.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned developing people's mindsets. What's some of the things you've seen where people's mindsets have changed and they've become happier, or they've taken up new hobbies, or their confidence is built from you changing them in the gym?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like you help someone come in the gym, build confidence, lose weight, start feeling better, looking better. What do you see besides that initial, that exterior type thing? Do you see them happier? Do you see them starting businesses? Do you see them?
Oh, they definitely get a lot
dating,
more confidence.
like things like that.
I guess you could say dating too. So most of the time, the women I have are married,
Okay.
married or boyfriends and stuff. But I did have a single girl, and she definitely did gain a lot of confidence. And like most of my girls, they get more confidence and motivation in the gym in general, and then eventually they're good to even just be on their own. That they don't even need me anymore.
Set them up to succeed.
Yeah, so it's nice for that. Although like I'll miss them and stuff, but
yeah, it's kind of hard, right?
They'll feel like strong enough to go on their own.
Yeah,
that makes me feel like, okay, then I did something right, that they don't need me anymore.
Okay. You mentioned, I've seen the holistic side of you. What is that all about?
So I don't believe in like pills or medicine or things like that.
Food is medicine, more
yeah,
type of thing?
exactly.
Okay.
Like if I can, I mean, unless I absolutely have to take medicine, like I'm on the verge of dying, whatever, then I'll take some medicine. But for the most part, as soon as I like feel anything, I'll do like raw garlic and honey.
Okay.
And then I'll have my tea before bed, things like that.
So you're developing like good habits to try to prevent, like prevention rather than cure.
Yeah, or even when it happens, then I'd rather do stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be on my deathbed before I'm like taking stuff.
Oh yeah.
And generally I'm in hospital. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, I take like mushrooms and I don't know if this is allowed to say it on here.
No, you can say whatever you want. I had someone I'm talking about.
I microdose pretty often.
Oh, you do?
Actually, like microdose before almost every time before jiu-jitsu.
Oh, really?
But that's because I like how it feels. You can
what
like,
does
feel
it?
it a lot
What does
more.
it do for you?
It's clear.
Like, what is the like you're talking about like mushrooms, right? Like magic mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms.
What does that do for you? I know a few people who do it. I've never done it myself.
It's like, so I'm not taking a full trip or anything, but if you microdose like here and there throughout the week, it could be like a natural mood booster. For me, it even gives me energy. And then like, I just like how it makes me feel like I feel like I see a little clearer and I can feel a lot more. So I like to take it before jiu-jitsu because like I feel the rolls more and like it seems like a little more intense to me.
Okay.
So that's why I like it. And it's just like the natural mood booster, especially sometimes like that time of month is coming or things like that. And I start to feel like I'm kind of going in a slump, like I'll microdose and then all of a sudden I'm like back to normal.
Really?
Yeah. And there's like recent studies too that
there's
it's
so many
helping
studies
with like
coming out.
PTSD.
So much studies on that, right? So much.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I even just regular mushrooms like alpha brain. It's like a nootropic. So
it's alpha brain and mushroom, is it? It's alpha brain mushroom.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's Joe Rogan talks about it all the time, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what it was.
Yeah, I think it's the alpha brain has the mushrooms in it too, or there's even like a mushroom one. But it definitely helps with like memory. I feel like more productive and my memory is better. And like I have super bad ADD sometimes. And then when I finally remember to keep taking my alpha brain, it actually is better and I'm more productive.
Really? What got you into that?
What, the alpha brain or like mushrooms?
No, the mushrooms, like the microdosing. Like, is that somebody you knew who did it? Like his ex-boyfriend or something? Or because I mean, I've heard of it, but I've no idea.
I've like just seen like articles and stuff like that about it.
You started doing your own research and things.
Yeah, and then like I have a friend who would provide it, and like I've done a trip before, and then I just hit him up like, hey, can I have some more? And then I just try it, And I'm like, oh shit, this is good.
Yeah.
And then you eventually just do it. Yeah.
So what is microdosing exactly? Is there a guesstimate, like, is there a guess on how much you take? Or is it
No, it's just like taking a bit. And so like
what
the way
is
that
a bit,
I have it,
though?
it's already in caps.
Okay.
And I'd say I think it's about like 0.1 grams.
So it's actually measured out and you know exactly what you're taking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that like just once a day?
I do it like once every other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because I had a guy, he talked about ayahuasca. Changed his whole life.
Yeah. That's next on my list.
Yeah.
Somewhere on there. I don't know about next.
You probably like to talk. He does microdosing a lot. But he had 4 successful companies, like massive companies, working. I think he said he's working 80 to 120 hours a week, making a ridiculous amount of money. He went to Puerto Rico, did ayahuasca, came back, sold his 4 businesses and moved down there.
Wow.
Just completely flipped his life on its head.
Wow. Yeah. Like when you get more into spirituality, you like really realize that a lot of this stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah, I feel like some people, like, you hear drugs, you hear things like that, but what I'm starting to find, there's a lot of intelligent, smart, rich people out there who are starting to popularly talk about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And when those people start to talk about it, you're like, okay, like, it's not some junkie on the corner. Mm-hmm. When someone you're look like, up to and respect,
you get out of this.
It's hard not to like listen properly.
Yeah.
And, like, why are they talking about this?
I think even Aaron Rodgers had an interview recently.
There's been so many, right?
Yeah.
There's a guy who has a podcast. It's called London Real. One of the podcasts I look up to. He always talks about it.
Yeah.
And I've been watching that podcast for 10 years. I think
that's why I started doing it too, because I'm like, okay, all these people, they're definitely smart. They know what they're doing. So I'm like, clearly this isn't a bad
They're not
thing.
homeless on the street, right? They're not addicted to this thing. They're doing it in a smart way. Mm-hmm. There's a book.
It's definitely better than smoking weed, that's for sure.
There is a book I can recommend. It's a Colombian professor who openly takes drugs. And it's on my Audible. I'll give it to you when we get out of here. But he basically takes all forms of drugs and he does it in a controlled manner. And he's a professor at Columbia.
That's awesome.
And it's fascinating. I had a friend refer it to me. So I don't do any drugs. I don't take anything like that. But I'm always open. I'm not like, oh, this is my only way. I'm like, I like learning from people. That's the whole point of having a damn podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just my way, why would I sit there and ask you questions?
That's true.
So this book was like so eye-opening. It was crazy. And he's taking everything.
Oh, wow.
Everything and anything. Like talking about heroin, talking about like the hardcore stuff.
That's crazy.
So I'll find it because can't remember exactly what it's called.
That's crazy.
Foodie side of you. Let's hear about it. You like to eat, I'm guessing.
Not just regular food, though. Like, I'm pretty specific.
Okay.
So, like how I said, I worked in a Japanese restaurant, or like as a waitress. It was a Japanese restaurant.
Oh, it was a Japanese restaurant. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the owner and chef used to work for like Nobu, Blue Ribbon, all these like top sushi places. And he's from Japan. So, like, I was pretty spoiled.
So you're in like the top sushi.
Yeah, so like...
So you like sushi?
I love sushi.
Yeah,
it has
I
to
do
be
too.
like good, authentic Japanese stuff.
Okay.
Like, because he would get like top-notch stuff from the same places that the hotels on the strip would go.
Okay.
But then from learning about fine dining through him and working in like a place like that, I would go out to eat with my coworkers too, and it got me into like fine dining in general. So we started going to places like exploring around Chinatown, because I think Chinatown has the best food.
Yeah, okay.
For like really good high quality food. So now I'm like, that's one of my hobbies. I like to find really good restaurants, and I'll judge it from like the instant I walk in, from the music to the ambiance to the plating to the flavor.
Are you doing social media about it?
Oh yeah, I have like little videos on it too.
Just on your regular Instagram stuff? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you haven't got like
it's like a good mix. So it's like fitness and food in my life.
Which is what else you need, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I think about separating it, but then I'm like,
it's already
started though, and like Fit Foodie Kim's already a name.
That's the tricky bit, right?
Yeah.
So you've got you got some favorite restaurants in town?
Oh yeah, and I have like the whole list.
Really? What are some of your favorite restaurants?
My top restaurants would be Sparrow and Wolf.
Okay.
Idio Tapas, Hachi more though for the ambiance, because it's such a great late night spot.
Okay.
And Esther's Kitchen, homemade pasta, quality cocktails. That's a good place. And then Lamai.
What's that?
Lamai is Thai fine dining.
Thai fine dining. Okay.
Yeah, really good. All those places are like top notch, really high quality taste and not like gonna blow your bank.
Gotcha. Which is half the battle, right?
Yeah, which is really like top chefs that left and created their own restaurants.
Okay.
Pretty much.
And then still affordable. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's my kind of deal. Oh, and District 1. District 1 is super good.
Oh, downtown?
It's Jones and Spring Mountain.
Okay, you've been there a few times.
I went there like last week. Well, the plaza it's in general is just so good. Like EDO is right next door. And then there's a nice Korean karaoke spot there too. Right next door too. Shut that shit down a few times.
So your eating out is still pretty healthy anyway, right?
For the most part. Well, like I just eat a lot of healthy throughout the day so that if I do eat out and it is like bad and I have a dessert and all that stuff, it doesn't do any damage.
Talk to me about your balance as far as like you're quite lean, like especially as a female.
Yeah, and I don't even
you're actually very lean. So how do you do that? Because like we all know you can't out train a bad diet. So I actually
did at first though, but that was me being 17.
Yeah.
And working out 3 hours a day.
When you're 17 and you're working out, you can eat McDonald's every meal and probably fine. You're not going to be healthy. But you're not
I didn't eat that bad to begin with. And at the end of the day, the main thing about just getting good progress and like muscle growth is just eating protein. So like, if I ate this much carbs and things like that, like the way I see it is like calories is energy. And at the end of the day, you just have to get the right amount of protein. Which is what I realized over time. So I'm just, before I didn't really measure it. Now I try to. Okay. But I would just be like, okay, every meal, I just got to eat like a good amount of protein every single meal. So that doesn't like make me lose my muscle. And
it also stops you eating too much of the other crap.
Of the other stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Sugar being the big one.
Yeah. And it helped after doing a show. So after doing a show and I really saw what my food was like and learned about it, then I was like, okay, it kind of kept me on track. Yeah. And I just kind of like stick to eating protein. Okay. Even for a while after the show, I would still eat those kind of meals. Gotcha. Now I just don't cook a lot though, because we have a small kitchen in my new, like the place I live at now. So I'm like, it's just too much work to clean in a small kitchen.
You're just eating out all the time?
No, I'm not eating out all the time. I just don't make like bulk foods.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So like I make smaller meals. So it's not as like structured like as it was before. Yeah. Where I just make a whole bunch of meat and veggies. Yeah. And stuff.
But you can, no matter what it is, you can always make it work. You just need to make it work for you.
It's working. It's still pretty
it's like, I got a small kitchen, I got a big kitchen, I got this, I got that. How do I make it work for me right now in my life?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In Australia, we've got this little book comes out every year, and it's got every bit of food which is available in Australia. So it's like all the fast food places, all the food on the supermarket, and tells you the fat, the protein, the calories, the salt. And I made the mistake years ago to just start to leave it on the coffee table and just flick through it. And I was like, crap, the more I learned, the more it stuck with me.
Oh, no.
So before I go to eat anything now, I know exactly, for the most part, how good it is for me, how bad it is for me, what's in it.
So does that like stop you from eating a lot of food?
So much food. Which is good because it's kept me in shape and it's given me, like, knowledge is power, right? Like you got this knowledge, but it's very hard to let go because you're like, hey, this has got X amount of calories and I know this is going to take X amount of time at the gym. Yeah. So it is very important to learn, and you learn a lot by competing. Yeah. But sometimes it's very hard just to turn off too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're like, just let me relax and enjoy this.
That's why I liked when COVID happened, because when COVID happened, like I was able to put on a lot of weight. I stopped caring for a while, and then it was just chilling,
fluffy and happy at home.
Yeah, because I was like, I felt skinny because right before COVID was like not long after my show, and like I look back at pictures and I'm like, ooh, yeah, she's skinny.
Gotcha. So your COVID time is just getting back to normal.
Yeah, it's like I have more weight on more like now too, even before the show and stuff. So I'm like, I like how I look now, and then it helps like getting cardio from MMA. Yeah, especially boxing. When I do boxing, when I'm freaking lean.
That's what I always encourage people. It's like, if you get on a treadmill, you do cardio, it sucks. It's so boring. Yeah. But skipping, you get there and skip, your heart rate gets up to 180.
It's so fun.
200 beats a minute, and you're actually learning, you're challenging yourself, it's fun.
Yeah, it's really
But you sit there and walk, or you're hitting the pads and stuff. It's so much fun, and you're learning and you're mentally getting challenged.
Yeah.
So I highly encourage trying to do something besides walk on the treadmill.
Oh, for sure.
But I mean,
and then as a plus, you're learning how to fight too.
Yeah, you learn how to defend yourself, being a huge part.
Although it's kind of funny because like one thing I've noticed, like people who aren't actually trying to fight, but they just want to learn to hit just to hit, they get this like really weird confidence where they just think they can fight. Like they'd be like, I'm ready. And I'm like, listen, buddy, right? You haven't even sparred.
Even hitting even hitting focus pads compared to like sparring. It's so different thing.
Yeah. Like whereas fighters, so they like the chance comes, they don't want to fight. But this person over here is like, I'm ready. I've been practicing.
Have you got many guy friends?
I have a lot.
Have you rolled with some of the guys who have never trained before?
Yeah, but sometimes they're still muscular,
and they're just
out muscling me.
That's all they're doing.
I absolutely hate it.
Have you tapped any of them out though?
Huh?
Have you tapped any of them out?
Oh yeah, for sure.
How does that? How do they like that?
It's amazing. I'm like, you can out muscle me, but let me put some technique on you right now.
I remember like we'd be drinking, ready to go out, and I'd be like rolling my friends, and it's just so easy when you train and they've never trained. Yeah. And it's just not fair. But I mean, I was a bigger guy too. But I mean, it must be humbling to tap out a guy who thinks he's all that. And you're probably hanging out with gym type guys too, right?
Like, actually not.
Really?
That was just like in the jiu-jitsu setting, but my personal guy friends are not very like super huge gym guys and stuff. They're actually more like gamer.
Okay. you do on Twitch.
Yeah, but I stream my workouts.
So what do you do exactly?
So I just turn on my Twitch when I'm gonna work out, and I talk to them while I work out. People have questions like, "Oh, what is that? Why do you do that?" Or they have questions about their fitness. I just answer it.
Really? Is that rare to do that? Because I think video games and girls in underwear.
Twitch is more like for video games, but their IRL in real life category is up and coming right now. So that's why I started
doing that. So there's a big
that.
opportunity there. Gotcha. How big an audience have you got?
For Twitch, it's pretty decent. It's still growing. I need to stream more.
How do you grow that audience?
You just gotta keep streaming.
I know a lot about a lot of different things. Twitch, I don't really know much about.
Twitch is hard. Twitch is hard for sure. But for that on Twitch, it's more so like consistency. Because like when I first started, apparently it's kind of hard to get affiliate really quick. And affiliate is how you can get subs and things like that. Okay. But I was just trying to stream like every single day. And I got it in like 2 weeks.
Gotcha. But you're working out every day, so it wasn't.
Yeah, so it's not a big
deal. You literally
deal.
just turn your camera on.
It's really easy. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which is like most of how I do my content. It's like it's stuff I'm already doing. Just turn the camera on.
Can you take that content and repurpose it on social media and other places? Is that what you're doing?
Some of it, yeah. If I have good clips onto there, I will take some clips from Twitch and then save it and put it on.
Is it just live the whole time?
It's live and then it saves onto my Twitch for like a week or so, something like that. Okay.
So you just stick it on a tripod and carry it around as you...
Yep.
And you just talk to it as you're going?
Yep.
That's really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Because I've been going live with this a lot and talking to people as we're doing the podcast.
Oh, okay.
And that's been cool. But yeah, Twitch is a whole different... So that can open a lot of doors, right?
Yeah.
It could be a podcast, could be fitness, it could be cooking.
That's what I love about it. I'm like very open to the content I do.
Because like I said, I think video games, but I'm sure they're constantly innovating like every other platform.
Oh yeah, they got all kinds of things on there. Yeah. They'll have like what's it called? Like when they're like doing the mic thing. I think ASMR.
AMS. Do you like that? That's crazy. Some people love that stuff.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
It's interesting.
Sometimes it'll like come up on my thing and I'll listen for 1 second. I'm like, it kind of is satisfying to the ear.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go seek it out.
But I'm not going to sit there and listen all day though.
Yeah. Where are people kind of going wrong, putting on weight, getting unhealthy, losing the quality of their life, dying earlier? In your opinion, like what are we doing wrong? I know it's a very open question, but it's very, I feel like it needs to be addressed. I mean, 60% of us are obese now. Top 3 killers in this country are all diet related.
It's hard because like the people I'm surrounded by are all like somehow care about their health with fitness and eating.
Last time I went to the airport or a theme park, think back, it's eye opening.
Oh, like if you go to like yeah. People are just lazy, or they don't have any interest in it.
Like just being physical, you think? Or it's more diet?
Everything. Because, like, you have to want it. That's what I tell people all the time, too. Like, people, like, for example, using myself, people are always like, how do you eat like that and you look like that? And then all this shit. And I'm like, well, one, I've been doing this shit for 7 years, nonstop. Yeah. And I'm like, people will say, you ask them, oh, how long have you been working out? And they're like, oh, on and off. Stop right there. On and off. You don't want it that bad.
Yeah,
I'm like,
okay.
I work out for 7 years. The only times I ever took a break is if I was physically sick.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you don't want this.
Yeah, okay.
If you really wanted it, you would act like it.
So you're saying they're not making it important enough to themselves. Yeah, I could totally agree with that.
It's like, you're just lying to yourself. Or, you're lying to yourself. You're not lying to me because I can see right through it.
Yeah. Are you, I'm very, like, black and white with people. I don't really, like, butter the truth up. But, like, I'm very, like...
No, yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I'm very blunt.
Blunt,
and, like,
probably being the best
very
word.
outspoken. Like, I will say whatever comes to my head. And
in my impression, like, if it upsets someone, but it gets them to take action, so be it.
Yeah, it's like fat shaming. I love it.
If I tell you something and we're not friends anymore, but you take action on it, I'm happy that I did my job.
No, yeah,
and maybe 10 years time you'll come back. Tough love being the word.
I expect the same
I feel
back.
like we lack it very big time these days.
Oh yeah, like, everybody's so soft.
Everyone's so sensitive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it.
How do you get past that? How do you change that? Because
I feel like I'll give it to them hard, and then I'll say sorry. I'll say sorry. It's tough love. Like, it's because I care about you. That's
even sometimes on this podcast, I'm like, I want to yell and scream at people, stop eating sugar. But it's, I don't know.
Eat fruits instead, like blueberries.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes, just don't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's upsetting. Like, the more I learn, the more I watch, the more I read, the more I realize that we're doomed, we're getting worse. And like you said, all the people I hang around with, gym, mindset, healthy. So it's very hard to look outside of that. And you said the same thing. Like, the people you directly hang out with are similar to you. So
they at least care enough not to get to a position where it's unhealthy. Like, I won't lie. I do have friends who don't work out and they don't eat the best either, but they're not like obese or like on the verge of having a heart attack.
Yeah,
you know?
they're fine still.
They're just like, they don't abuse it.
That's not true. Yeah. You talk about entrepreneurship, you talk about working for yourself. Do you self-educate? Do you read books? Do you do courses?
Oh, yeah. So I like books. I do courses. And also, for being a trainer through a commercial gym, you have to keep your certification up and running, like, in good standing. So I have to continuously add on certifications, things like that. Okay. That's the one thing I like about being commercial gym. And like the gym I work for too, they also provide like scholarships or whatever, so they'll pay you back for the certification.
Oh, really? That's cool. That's really cool. What type of books and stuff are you reading? Is it business, mindset?
Usually they're like mindset. I do also like fictions that makes you think about your like life. Okay. Like The Alchemist. I read that recently.
That keeps coming up. Huh? Yeah, that keeps coming up on here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think literally my last podcast, that book came up.
Wow. So, have you read it?
I know the front of it. I know it's blue.
No, it's like orange and yellow.
Maybe I haven't read it. I don't know. I read a lot, but I'm not 100% sure if I've read it. If you
like fiction and like books that make you think about your life and yourself.
I think I was 8 the last time I read a fiction book.
Wow.
But I'm not opposed to reading it because I keep hearing about it. So I'm going to put it on my to-do list.
I like fiction books that are either like a love story or they cause you to like think about your life, which The Alchemist does. Like, long story short, it's basically going for your goal in life and not getting distracted, because like the things that are distracting you are just keeping you longer from there.
Okay. They put into like a fiction story.
But it's like a really good story.
Okay. I like that.
And it's like a bit spiritual, and like me being spiritual, I like ate that shit up.
Okay. Gotcha.
That, and then I read poetry because I like to read and write poetry. And then I'll also read like mindset books. So I'm also reading Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck right now.
How do you like that?
It's good.
It's pretty black and white. Like
it's black and white, simple. Yeah. Like,
what's some of your favorite books as far as like mindset, business? Anything that really had like an impact on you?
40 Laws, Robert Greene.
Okay. Yeah. Robert Greene's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. I think he also writes different books too, not just mindset, like actual literature. If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
I've read one of his books. I can't remember what it was. Have you?
'Cause I like literature too. I like reading too. Well, I liked English and writing growing up because I write.
Yeah. Whereas, don't ask me. It's not my jam. Habits, daily habits, good habits, bad habits. Obviously, we know exercise is one. Obviously, we know like your diet's pretty on point.
Habits. One of my bad habits is I'm a procrastinator.
Oh, you really?
But the thing is, it's because I don't know why I had like some of my ADD. If I start early, I just start getting distracted. Like I'll just start doing random shit. Whereas if I do it closer to the time, then I'll just focus on it, and I'll just like
you force yourself to focus. Yeah, that's interesting.
It's just like I'm so close. Like work hard on it. Otherwise, if I have too much time, I'm like, oh, let's start doing this.
Yeah,
let's start eating. Oh, snack time. Yeah.
What's your good habits? Like exercising.
Exercise.
Do you ever do cold therapy? You do saunas?
Yeah. I love cold therapy.
You do?
I used to do this thing, but they haven't done it in a while. And it was a little group where we would do a breath class. So like, are you familiar with Wim Hof?
Love Wim Hof, the Iceman.
Yeah. And I used to microdose before that too. So I microdosed before, and it'd be like an hour of breath work. We'd be laying down. Sometimes I bring like crystals.
Like He's breath work.
Yeah,
which is amazing,
with
right?
The sound. Yeah. And then right after, we go right into an ice bath.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Where do you do that?
They haven't done it in a while, but it was just a small little group of friends, and we do it right outside of Movement Fitness.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd love to be a part of that. That's right up my alley.
I think they still do it on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
Movement Fitness. The thing is, I work at that time, so I can never make it. But I'm going to try to see if they can start doing it again on the weekends. Because it was awesome. Yeah,
plus you're around like very similar-minded people.
Yeah, so it'd be great. Like, I feel like a little, like I'd call it Sunday service.
That's your like,
we would just do that, be in the ice. Like, it was great. Sometimes I'd be in there for like, I think the longest was like 7 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, and I like the ice baths better because you can just relax. Like, we have cryotherapy at the gym. Okay. But you have to stand. And then it's also on your head.
It's pretty quick though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quick. But I'm like, I want to be in there a long time. And then you have to stand so it's not relaxing. Whereas like I microdose and now I'm in the ice. So I close my eyes and I'm like meditating. Gotcha. I just like go to a different mental state.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you ever try cold showers?
Oh, yeah. But I don't start cold. I'll start.
Everybody says that.
Sometimes I will. If it's like a quick shower, then I'll just do it cold, whatever. Or if I came out the sauna and like cold plunge.
That's kind of cheating, right? Like if you're going from hot to cold, it's so much easier than just going from nothing to cold.
Yeah, but it also is just like a lot better for you too. Like it's like from the heat to a cold plunge.
Yeah, true. You can get that. Like sometimes I'll go as hot as possible. I always start cold. I always finish cold, but sometimes I'll fluctuate between hot and cold.
Oh yeah.
Ideally, if I had a sauna and an ice bath, that would be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
This place doesn't accommodate. So
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. So usually I'll just start hot shower and then end cold.
What do you get out of the cold therapy? Like, what does it do for you? Because
I do say it helps with muscle recovery.
Like flushing the lactic acid, right? I think
after a while it does. Yeah, the lactic acid. It does if you do it enough. But also for me, it's like more of like a mental thing.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like it's helping me get some like discipline and then really push myself because I'm like, all right, if I make it through this time, then I'll be good. And then like if I can meditate in there too, then it just like helps fill me like spiritually.
Doing something that makes you uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. That's what I like.
Yeah, and I just feel like I'm getting like kind of just like meditating. You know, you release some endorphins and stuff. And then like I feel like good for the week. That's why I like saying Sunday service. It was like going to church, you know?
It's kind of like a reset. Are you doing, you do saunas in that as well?
Saunas? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Are you meditating?
Huh?
Do you meditate?
Do I meditate?
Like on a consistent basis?
Too. On a consistent basis, yes. And usually before bed, like I'll turn on my Spotify meditation music. Yeah. Choose a different one.
Are you doing guided ones
or
like
just regular music and I'll just do my own meditations until I fall asleep.
Do you do it in bed? Do you do it laying down? Do you do it?
Laying down, because then I plan to just fall asleep right after.
That's how I've been doing it. I was just wondering if that's right or wrong. I literally do it in bed. I'll put the music on.
It's all up to you.
Yeah.
It's whatever works for you. So like
sometimes I've done on the floor in here, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly.
And then I'll stagger to bed. It's like a long 2-minute walk to bed.
Yeah, that's why it's like good to just stay there.
Yeah, that's kind of why I migrated from here into there.
Yeah. I mean, if it works, it works, you know?
Yeah. How long have you been doing meditation for?
Probably a little over a year.
Okay.
I started doing it more after getting into the ice baths and stuff.
It's funny how one thing leads to another.
Yeah, because like we do the breath work during ice baths, and I'm like, okay, it's almost like a form of meditating too. And I was like, this is good. Like I feel good. So
you kind of get like a little taste, and then you kind of dive in deeper.
Yeah, and I just feel more like aligned and like healthier mentally when I do all these things together. Do
you find when you don't do it, something's missing?
Oh yeah.
Explain
and sometimes
that to me.
I don't even realize it. So that's
you just feel
what's crazy.
off?
It's like I feel off, and I'm like, what's been going on? And I'm like, why I don't feel like fulfilled inside, or something's missing.
Something doesn't feel balanced.
Yeah, and something feels missing, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't been meditating.
That's really interesting.
As soon as I meditate, I'm like, oh, I feel like weight's lifted off.
I've been meditating about 2 months now, and when I stopped for a couple of days, something fell off.
Yeah,
and I kind of literally had the urge to fall back into it, and now I'm back into it. I feel
You're
settled.
Better again.
Yeah, and like with the cold, like I've done cold showers for 6 years. There's no way I could never not do cold.
Yeah,
it's like this weird addiction.
Really? And you do like your whole shower cold,
start to finish. Yeah.
Are you in there for a long time?
I mean, always at least 5 minutes.
Okay, that's quick.
But
I'm like, I got long hair.
So Wim Hoffman said to get the benefits out of a cold shower, you need to do at least 2 minutes. Anything past that is more just like mental. So to get like the health benefits, it's 2 minutes. Cold shower a day keeps the doctor away, type of thing. But he goes, anything after that, you're just mentally kind of pushing yourself, challenging yourself, everything you kind of touched on.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah, which 100% is a mental thing.
Yeah.
Because the reason I started was Tony Robbins, do a cold shower. If you do a cold shower each day, the rest of your day is easy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so true, right?
And it wakes you up, too.
It wakes you up, but it's like, hey, this person's not answering the phone. This is happening. Hey, I had a cold shower this morning and I didn't have to. And this is easy compared to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's supposed to be pretty good for your skin, too.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been sick since I started. That's the biggest thing for me. And that's 6 years.
What?
So I'm talking like
you don't get any allergies, cough, like literally
even COVID,
nothing.
Like not even COVID.
Wow.
Like,
but do you like put yourself out there a lot? Like you go to festivals or things like that?
I mean, I've been sick at least once or twice a year for my entire life, just like a regular person. And then I stopped. And after a year, I'm like, oh, I'm lucky. 2 years, I'm lucky. 6 years, I'm like, oh, there's some truth to this.
How long have you been here in America?
12 years.
So are you a U.S. citizen now?
Like got my immigration, but yeah.
Yeah, you are technically.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
I know they were like pretty strict with COVID and stuff, right? Like you couldn't even leave the country.
Australia was ridiculous.
It's still like that?
No, I mean, people. Do you see the riots which were happening in Australia?
Like not lately, but I know like it's super strict. Like it was hard to leave.
So Australia is such an amazing country, and we're so lucky. And there's certain things that they do which makes it so cool, but they're also very extreme. So an example being, there was a mass shooting 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. They banned guns.
Yeah, I remember that.
So there hasn't been a mass shooting since, but there's no guns in the country.
Yeah.
So however you want to take it, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. COVID happened. I think there was 200, maybe 100 deaths in the whole country. They literally shut the borders, locked people in their houses. My sister was locked in her house in Melbourne for 4 months with a newborn baby.
That'd be insane.
Yeah, she's going insane. And then people just started rioting. People were like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And then over here in America, like you got one state locked down, the other one's open. There's 1,200 planes coming in and out of the Vegas each day.
It's crazy.
It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But the most frustrating thing for me with COVID was no one talked about 80% of the people who died were overweight or elderly.
Yeah.
Nobody talked about losing weight. Nobody talked about getting healthier.
I hated it.
Nobody talked about increasing your immune system.
Yeah.
Put on the mask,
which is funny because now they talk about it here and there.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you could have fought it if you like exercise.
Whereas you and I probably didn't worry about it. I probably didn't think twice about it, right?
Yeah.
Because we're so focused on what actually matters.
Yeah, your health.
Your health. Your health is your wealth. Your health is everything.
Yeah, and it's like the number one leading cause of death. What? Heart disease.
And
like, how do you?
How often someone die from a heart attack in this country? Have a guess.
How can they die?
How often? How many seconds?
How often? Oh, I don't know. Very
39
often.
seconds.
Wow, every
39 seconds.
Damn.
That's insane. 60% of Americans are pre-diabetic or diabetic now.
Yeah.
60% of Americans are obese. Not overweight, obese.
Damn.
This is the first generation where your kids aren't going to outlive you.
Mine are. They better.
Yeah, I mean, you're specifically, and that's
mine
like
specifically. You've taken
that's been a good role model. But basically, like guess how much sugar we eat per day now on average?
No, it's crazy.
How many teaspoons of sugar per person per day?
How much?
It's like 22 teaspoons of sugar per person per day.
It's better in Australia, right? Like they don't really put.
Nah,
oh, really?
It's
So it's one of those countries that's the
New
same.
Zealand, Australia, UK, Canada, America.
Because like I know some
Mexico.
countries they like limit it. Japan, they don't have like American snacks or cereal.
The worst thing I can say about America is the things they get away with that other countries don't stand for. Yeah. So like your food dyes are illegal.
They want us to stay sick.
So the food dye, and that's I'd love to talk about that. Rich. Yeah. But like the food dyes they use in Gatorade, the food dyes they use in Skittles are illegal in the UK.
That's crazy.
The stuff that goes in Twinkies is illegal in other countries. But America.
We should have like more people fighting this. Talking about it, like compare it. Like, why is UK like this, but America's like this? It should make you wonder.
Money.
Exactly. But
control,
then it should make
capitalism.
It should make people wonder though, like, oh, why would they want us to not be healthy? Because if you're not healthy, then they make more money off of you.
Well,
why is it so hard to understand?
That's full stop, right?
Yeah, like people don't want to believe that. Just trust the government here. Like, they're taking care of us. The government doesn't care about
what you got to realize is you got to take care of yourself, full stop. That's the only person who can take care of it.
Exactly.
And even if you do try to take care of it, it's hard. You really got to go out of your way. You nearly feel, I saw a video yesterday talking about it, you nearly feel abnormal trying to be healthy and trying to be normal. Because being healthy isn't actually normal anymore. You know what I mean? If you actually seek out to get healthy food and you don't go get fast food, you're weird, you're different. Why would you do that? But that's the way it used to be. So in a week, we'd have 6 grams of sugar an entire week. Now we're having 22 grams of sugar per day.
Damn.
It's crazy stuff.
That's a lot.
So I like what you said, like food is medicine. It's so true, right? Like looking after your health, and like you said, there's so much more money in having
keeping people sick.
Yeah. So I mean, if I gave you a pill,
medicine.
Yeah, if I gave you a pill and made you healthier, or if I gave you a pill a day for the rest of your life to keep you alive, as a business, what am I going to do? I'm going to do option B, right?
Business. So you wouldn't want to do that.
So the more addicted we are, the more unhealthy we are, the better it is for money. And then it's funny, I had a podcast and we're talking about people who have like say your knee brace, right? Like I'm sure yours is from an injury.
No, I'm actually doing it so my knee stays in place. So I recently did like a PRP injection. Have you heard of that? It's platelet-rich plasma injection.
That's where they spin it?
Yeah, they took my blood, spun it, took the plasma or platelets from it, and then re-injected it into my knee so it recovers faster. And I dislocated my knee months ago. Yeah. And it's never been the same since.
Gotcha.
So I'm excited to see.
Was that expensive to do?
I think it's $750 a shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard you think it's good? Have you heard good stuff about it?
I have heard really good stuff about it.
Yeah, so
I'm into that stuff. Yeah, I'm like stem cells, things like that, 100%.
That's very interesting.
It's way better than surgery.
How long ago did you have the shot?
Resort. I just got it on Friday. It's pretty recent. Yeah.
My I've had got electric skateboard. I fell off it, landed on my shoulder. First time in my life I've ever had a shoulder injury. I'm like, I've got a tourniquet, I've got to done this. And then what I realized, I started training through it. I started stretching, started using a band, started doing a lot of research, started doing a lot of hanging from bars. Yeah. Guess what? My shoulder is completely and utterly fine.
That will help a lot.
It took a year and a half.
Even yoga too, as long as you're consistent with it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to speed it up.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm all for that. But also too, like, if your diet's off point and you're eating a lot of sugar, you're gonna have a lot of inflammation in your body too. Yeah. So even just cutting out the sugar and bringing the inflammation down, that actually may get rid of a lot of things.
True.
And what what I was kind of touching on before is all these things we tolerate on a daily basis. That if you've been overweight since like you're 20 and you always had indigestion, you don't realize that you don't need to have indigestion. Yeah. Or if you got heartburn and you're taking pills for heartburn, you don't realize if you cut out soda and you start eating clean, what happens? It goes away. The best I've ever felt is when I'm dieting and like eating clean 100% of the time. Everything functions well. Yeah, everything functions perfectly. But I would say like 95% of us are never going to feel that way because we're always having some type of crap. And we're always bringing on something on our body that we're now going to go to the chemist or the pharmacy and treat. It's nuts, right? You also like take turmeric too for inflammation. Like there's so many
little
Fasting
things you can do.
Is the best way to get rid of inflammation. Fasting will get rid of stem cells. You do a 2-day fast, you'll produce more stem cells on a 2-day fast than you can any other way.
Yeah.
Cool. Autophagy. You don't eat for 24 hours, your body will start going to autophagy. You know what autophagy means?
No, what's that?
Nobel Prize won in 2016 in medicine on autophagy. Your body will basically it's self-eating or self-cleaning. You go without food for a certain amount of time, your body will then start breaking down bad cells, things that cause Alzheimer's, things that turn into cancers, things that will kill you. Your body will get rid of it itself.
I didn't know like there was an exact word for that, but
autophagy is the word.
I could feel it because every now and then I'll fast for like a day or two just because I can feel it cleansing me. Usually I'll like
cleansing being the perfect word.
But
and your vision's clearer, your skin is perfect.
Yeah.
You look younger, you feel better. But we feed, like I think there's a thing, we snack 22 times a day now. That's insane, right?
That's crazy. Not me, but that's crazy.
So I used to go back to like the 3 square meals a day, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But now, like, we sit down, we're always eating, we're walking, we're eating, we're watching TV, we're eating.
People need healthier snacks.
Or we just need to like shut our mouth and realize that we don't actually need to take that food.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna snack though, at least be healthier.
Yeah, I mean that would obviously be the best
start. That's what I do.
start.
I try to when I'm buying snacks, because I don't even really snack to begin with. But I'm like, if I need something in the house, I'll usually choose like healthier alternatives. It's like celery sticks, and they still crunch. Things like that.
Perfect. And so saying too, like the less you eat, the longer you're gonna live. There's a book called Lifespan by David Sinclair. He's basically just proven the less you eat, the longer you live. And
do you know there's people who don't even eat at all?
Eat what?
They just do breath work.
Talk to me about that.
You've never seen that? They don't eat at all. They just do breath exercises.
How does that work?
I don't know if it's true. Like maybe they're secretly eating behind cameras, but they're with it. They look very skinny. So I could believe it.
I mean, they're not eating.
Yeah. But they don't look like ill. They just look very skinny. But yeah, there's people who practice. I don't know the depths of it, but I know they just practice like doing breath work and breath exercises, and they don't eat at all. I don't even know if they drink water. I'm not sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, I've seen like people do that who are Muslim, like when it's the 40-day Ramadan.
Yeah, I mean,
I've drink water, and they can only drink it too from certain hours. Did you know that?
I've done dry fasting, and that's no water. Yeah, that's the thing, right?
You need water at least.
But obviously, you're not going to do it all day. You're not going to do it for days on end.
Yeah.
But there's people there's some crazy stuff out there. That's why you can't just kind of be like this way. Like you got to kind of critically think and do your own research. Like I know nothing about that, so I can either like, oh no, that's stupid, or I can pick up a book or watch a video, learn about that, and now make my decision based off
what you learn,
my information. And I feel like so much of us are just kind of preset. This is it. I mentioned fasting, people freak out. And like, I fast, like, oh, wow, this guy's bigger than I am and he eats less than I do. Then they start to believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the guy I learned fasting off was bigger than me. Otherwise, I probably would have thought it was stupid too.
Yeah.
So it's like...
People need to be more open-minded.
But sometimes we need the person who... Like, you're not going to go a fat personal trainer, right? You're not going to listen to someone you don't want to kind of look like or respect.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of helps. But we definitely need to be, especially in America, be a lot more open-minded and
except towards vegans. Fuck vegans. Just kidding.
But I mean, each to their own. Like, as people do carnivore.
I'm just kidding.
For me personally, I couldn't do it. But then I watched videos like Food Inc. and the mistreatment of animals.
Oh, I can't watch that. I don't want to watch that.
And that's by not watching it, being naive and ignoring the fact it happens.
Because I will become vegan if I watch that.
I've seen it, and I just try to shut it out because it makes me uncomfortable. So I'm no better than you.
Yeah.
But am I going to be a vegan because of that? No. Do I want to go to Brazilian Steakhouse tonight? Yes. So it's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on? Any other value you can kind of add to anyone out there? I think the biggest thing for you, how do you get someone to, I love the fact you're a female, that you got into weights and you got into martial arts. What do you tell someone who's kind of lacking the confidence to walk into the gym, to take the first step on the weight loss mission, to break that bad cycle of friends and get around new people? What's kind of your 2 cents on that?
For someone who's just getting in, honestly, when you just join a gym, usually most places will give you a free training session.
Yeah, like the personal training session. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Pick their brain, do it and stuff, And like, if you're gonna watch people on Instagram, make sure it's like a reliable source. Don't just pick somebody because they look good.
The Liver King.
I saw that recently. That's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is this shocking to anybody?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's so obvious.
Yeah, like
anybody who had any idea.
I mean, I respect that he's eating raw liver and all this other crazy stuff, but like, did you really think that eating all that raw stuff is what's getting him like that?
Yeah,
I'm sure. I know there's a lot of good health benefits to it, but
yeah,
that's not what's getting him.
You can't look like you're on roids when you're not on roids. When you're on roids.
Yeah. Like this is not a surprise, people. Yeah, so just don't trust people like that.
Yeah, you can't trust that. And that's the problem, right? It's like, and we always talk about this, there's so much misinformation. Mm-hmm. Oh, do this like little leg workout and you're going to get abs. Yeah. And people are like ripping them apart because no, abs are made in the kitchen.
Yeah. Honestly, like you kind of have to use some critical thinking when it comes down to it.
It's hard to break away from the fluff though, right?
It looks, and then kind of see like if they look like they know what they're doing, if you're going to follow somebody on Instagram, but then also look at more how they look. Like do they look like they could be on some kind of enhancements, things like that, because a lot of them are. But for me, I'd just be like, find somebody who's actually like teaching, like Squat University or like.
What's that one?
You never seen it?
No, I haven't.
He's more into like knee stuff, how to squat, how to do kettlebell deadlift. He does a lot, but he's really intelligent. I think he's like a doctor of physical therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. He's a good page to follow. And then knees over toes guy.
Yeah, I was just about to mention him.
Like if you really want to learn fitness, like and like getting into it and taking care of yourself, I would like follow pages like that. Not like grow your booty in 10 days. Like,
yeah.
And if you really wanted to grow your butt, you got to follow the glute god, like Rhett Contreras,
Yeah.
So like for people who are new to training, like this is the type of
stuff you think like looking for more credible sources.
Yeah, like go for a credible source. Don't be cheap. Like everything, you get what you pay for. Don't be cheap. Like, $5 monthly program. Like, because I've heard somebody do something like that before, and I was like, let me see it. And I saw it, and it was like 10, 15 exercises on a leg day with so many unreasonable exercises. And I was like, this is shit.
Just someone cashing in.
This just looks like, like somebody did some kind of AI that was just like throw in 10 workouts together. I'm like, this is bullshit.
on the base of it, the base is the base. It's always going to be the same. It always has been the same. Especially now, it's starting to be tweaked a little bit more glutes, a little bit more booty, a little bit more this and that.
That's usually what most girls want these days.
But the base of it is eat consistently clean, train consistent, and you'll get results. Exactly. And then when you start to get to your level, like, hey, now I want a little bit more shoulder depth, or no, I want a little bit more booty, like, then you start to build on top of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you're actually eating too, because you could be doing all the workouts and it's like, I only ate once today. What'd you eat? A salad. Well, you're not going to grow anything then.
What, as far as not caring about what people think, you seem to be really good at that. I've learned to be quite good at that too. How do you break past that? If you go to the gym, everyone's going to be watching you, everyone's going to be judging you.
It's really hard, but honestly, you just have to fake it until you make it. How
do you fake it though? Like just
you pretend you don't care.
Until
eventually you don't.
That's interesting.
You have to act like nothing hurts you until finally it really doesn't.
So starting with the trainer, going that route.
Yeah, like if I have to really think about it, I'm like, I honestly can't remember when I actually did care, so I can't give an exact example how not to care. But if I had to think about it, I'd be like, yeah, I think I just had to keep pushing through and pretending nothing hurt me until finally I was like, oh, it doesn't hurt me anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah, who cares? And then I think it's because through pushing through, not worrying about what people thought, I was starting to realize oh shit, what they think really doesn't matter because it's not even affecting me. So why should I let it affect me?
Yeah, okay.
And then eventually you don't care anymore.
That's interesting. And for the most part, most people too worry about what you think of them anyway. Yeah, I mean, if you're at the gym and you think people are watching you, they're actually more worried what you're thinking of them. Can you relate to that?
Yeah, I think that's usually how it is. People are scared, and I'm like, or for the most part too, I'm like, they're not looking at you.
Nobody cares.
They don't even care.
Everyone's just kind of doing that
I've actually seen some pretty cool videos of that lately too, where people do tests and they're like, watch, nobody will care. And they jump on a table, scream and dance for a little, and then go back down. And they're like, look, 10 seconds from now, they're going to forget this.
But then you do have the idiots filming people at the gym and posting it to make it look stupid.
So that's messed up.
And that's really messed up.
Mean.
That's literally the worst thing you could do to someone.
Yeah, because people are scared already coming here. Now you're going to do that.
Have you seen Joey Swole?
Yeah, I love Joey Swole.
Calling them out.
I love that he does that.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because it's a few years ago, I feel like he used to be some kind of bodybuilding, not total douchebag, but he wasn't the nicest guy,
Yeah, but I mean, anybody can change.
And then now all of a sudden, no, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's cute, the change of heart.
Yeah, no.
Wow, to go from somebody who didn't care at all, now he's literally going out of his way to call people out.
Which is awesome, especially as a guy like that, because it breaks that perception we talked about. Yeah, and it makes people feel
better. Wow, this big bodybuilder guy who's one of those scariest looking guys in the gym is supporting people.
And they're always
calling out people who are assholes. So it's cool.
I would be, honestly, me personally, I would be pissed if I got found looking like I don't know what to do publicly on social media.
No, and then you would probably never want to go to the gym again.
You probably never would.
If I saw somebody doing that, oh my God, they would get it from me right there.
Yeah.
I don't tolerate that stuff. I don't tolerate people being mean to people in general. I don't like that. I'm very big on positivity and being nice.
Yeah, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, so
full stop, right?
And I don't tolerate fake stuff, mean stuff.
And it's all for that instant gratification and being famous on social media. If you're famous on social media for that,
that's mean. Yeah.
But I mean, what value does that bring you?
It's an insecurity issue,
Yeah, it brings someone else down to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to make somebody feel bad to make you feel better.
Yeah.
It's just a dick move.
Yeah.
If anything, a nice thing to do, hey, you're not actually doing anything. Can I show you something?
Yeah, and even that's tricky. But that's better than picking up a stupid phone.
Yeah. Well, the cool part about you said that too, as being a trainer, you just you pull the trainer card. Hey,
yeah.
I'm a trainer, without being mean. Can I show you how to actually use that?
You ever heard the sandwich technique?
No.
It's say something positive and then
say something positive again.
Just kind of making it I'm sure there's a better way of doing it, but that's what first thing comes to my mind.
I think I do that.
Yeah.
That's me when I'm calling my friends out. I love you, but you're so stupid. Blah, 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 blah.
P.S. I love you. Don't do it again. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. That was a pleasure. And thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Cool.